So amid the rowdiness and the booze that took place at the DNC convention, well, there were a lot of pro-Hillary celebrities who, some of which supported Bernie Sanders but are now quickly uniting behind Hillary, that decided to grace us with their infinite wisdom and berate us Bernie or Busters about how we are being brats and how, we need to get in line. So first we'll start out with Sarah Silverman, who, as you all know, she gave a pretty good speech at the convention, but then she ruined it by slapping us across the face.
To the Bernie or Bust people, you're being ridiculous.
Guys, we're so ridiculous because after spending hours phone banking for Bernie, after knocking on doors and canvassing for him, after donating our hard-earned dollars to Bernie Sanders' campaign to help him, well, the whole thing was rigged from the beginning. There was a media blackout, there was mass election fraud that seemed to conspicuously only help Hillary Clinton, and yet we're being ridiculous because we're not just getting behind Hillary Clinton. Well, here's the thing, Sarah Silverman. I think you're going to be okay regardless of who is the president of the US, right? Celebrities don't have to really worry about different presidents because the oligarchs, the rich 1%ers, they're always good, even in authoritarian regimes. So I could see how you would think we're being ridiculous, but you should look at this from our perspective because we poured time and energy and money into this election, and all you did was film a 5-minute pro-Bernie video. Congratulations, that took you an hour to probably write and produce, and now you have the nerve to say that we're being ridiculous. No, you're being ridiculous. Now, perhaps my favorite celebrity lecturer was Seth Meyers.
What's going on? I tuned in last night and there was more white booing than the Casper movie. Look, I know you're Bernie or Bust, but the results are in. Bust won. We don't have time for this. Donald Trump is ahead in the polls. The House is on fire. Stop crying because we're not putting it out with your hose. Hey, pay attention.
Pay attention.
We are on the cusp of electing a racist demagogue, and that never ends well. I don't know which class you ditched to go to those Bernie rallies, but I have a feeling it was history. You're like a Cavaliers fan who goes to the games and boos when LeBron dunks with the wrong hand. Oh, wait, that would never happen because that is ridiculous. But I know what you're going to say. I don't know anyone who's planning to vote for Trump. Oh, you don't? Did you ask everybody in your yoga class? Did you check with the entire drum circle? Because guess what? You know you have that crazy uncle you only see at Thanksgiving? Well, this country is about 48% crazy uncles. And it's about to be Thanksgiving all day, every day. And please don't say, pass the gravy, because if Trump is elected, no one gets gravy. Trump gets all of the gravy. Also, because of you, Bernie is going to have to campaign for Hillary every day until Election Day, and he shouldn't have to do that. One, because he hates her. It's just unlike you, he's adult enough to pretend he doesn't. And two, Bernie should be on a well-earned vacation, just sitting on a stoop, drinking cream soda and yelling at people to put their garbage in the trash can. And another thing, if you're going to put tape over your mouth to symbolize that you are being silenced, don't agree to do an interview.
Is there anything Hillary Clinton could say or do to win you over?
One or the other. Tape or talking, you can't do both. Look, I get disappointment. We've all experienced disappointment. I couldn't get Rihanna to go out with me, but I don't stand in the kitchen and boo my wife. At least not while she's telling me how she plans to make my life better. Bernie did a great job. You did a great job. Your passion changed the Democratic Party, and that is no small thing. You should be proud of yourselves for his campaign, but also you have to be quiet now. Now is the time to be quiet.
So my favorite part was he said there was more white booing than the Casper movie. I'm not laughing because it's a funny joke. It's very unfunny. I'm laughing at the irony. So the underlying implication there is that white people were booing. So by definition, their needs are illegitimate because they have white privilege. So let's diminish the presence of diverse identities that were in attendance and also upset. But let's also not mention the irony. Hey, Seth, I'm not sure if you realize this, but you're at the top of the social hierarchy, buddy. You're straight, you're white, you're male, but most importantly, how privilege is often defined in our society is by money. and you are filthy rich. So you can sit there and criticize people for their white privilege or their privilege in general while you make millions of dollars to say unfunny jokes that other people wrote for you. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. Now, another part, he said, we don't have time for this. Donald Trump is ahead in the polls. You can't be a baby, guys. Wake up. Come on, get it together. Okay, so if you're really terrified about Donald Trump, get off your ass, go knock on some doors like we did to get Bernie Sanders ahead, go make some calls, donate to Hillary Clinton's campaign, do what you got to do to defeat Donald Trump. Don't just sit on your ass and badger us for not supporting Hillary Clinton after we were screwed over. We've put in time during this election. Trust me, we did what we could to put forth the best candidate to defeat Donald Trump, and it was rigged against us. So you don't get to sit here and talk shit when you're sitting on your ass. Get off your ass, go put in work for Hillary if you're afraid of Trump. Now, another thing he said is, the house is on fire, stop crying because we're not putting it out with your hose. Well, that's not what this is about. Are we disappointed we lost? Absolutely. But the main point is that nobody's talking about how we didn't just lose, we were robbed. There was election fraud. The DNC had their finger on the scale the entire time. Yet, we poured all this hours into this election, and we got nothing out of it. We won't get anything out of it. So it's not about just losing. It's not about being sore losers, which admittedly, I'm a very sore loser. Absolutely, we should be. Presidential campaigns are very serious business. This isn't a sports game. This is serious. This is our lives. It's not going to affect you because you'll be okay no matter what, but it does affect us. Okay, we have a real stake in this. So this isn't about just losing and being upset that we lost. This is about it being rigged from the beginning and us being robbed. Now, the worst part of the whole video is when he did his little, hey, basically saying, pay attention. That was the most condescending thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Literally, I've never seen anyone be more condescending because us peasants are so stupid. Pay attention, you know? He can be as rude and condescending as he wants to us because we're just dumb peasants. So anyone who disagrees with him, he feels entitled to actually talk down to them and to treat them like that, to actually snap at them. I know that, you know, he's just trying to be funny. It's behind a camera, but that is just absolutely embarrassing to you because it shows what kind of an entitled prick you are. Now, he also said, because of you, Bernie's going to have to campaign for Hillary all day and every day until election day, and he shouldn't have to do that because he hates her. But unlike you, he's adult enough to pretend like he doesn't. No, because of the DNC, Bernie Sanders is going to have to campaign for Hillary Clinton. Because of Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders is going to have to campaign for Hillary Clinton. And in fact, he doesn't have to do that. He endorsed her. Wash your hands. You're done, Bernie. You don't have to do that. Okay? She's run a terrible campaign. The DNC has bungled this election. You've pushed away your own base. Your base is supposed to be a constituent that you can count on no matter what. And they still feel that way after giving us the middle finger. Hillary Clinton had so many opportunities to reach out to us. When she made her pitch during a town hall to Bernie Sanders supporters, she said, I'm winning. They have no choice but to vote for me effectively.
I am winning.
I am winning.
And also, she could have selected Elizabeth Warren, but she went for Tim Kaine. So are you honestly trying to tell me that we're the ones to blame? Hell no, you're blaming the victims. You have to blame Hillary Clinton and the DNC for running a terrible campaign.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Now, I already know the response. People are going to say, Mike, you guys did win, though. I mean, you got the most progressive Democratic Party platform in history. So isn't that a good thing? Didn't you feel like you won? Well, no, because the reason why we got that platform is because Hillary Clinton wanted Bernie Sanders to drop out of the race and endorse her, and he did that. So if it weren't for that, then she would not, and her delegates would not have actually agreed to a really progressive platform. But the problem there is that I can smell bullshit. I know bullshit when I see it. I have a very good bullshit detector. So you mean to tell me that they're not just saying that to lure in voters and then betray them later, like the Democratic Party always does? Okay, buddy, you are very naive. And furthermore, I don't hate Hillary Clinton. I just disagree with her politically. Now, I'm not trying to downplay the fact that Donald Trump is dangerous or scary because I agree that he is. But that fact doesn't make Hillary Clinton any more appealing of a candidate. She's also dangerous. Now, you would know that if you really closely followed the betrayals of the Democratic Party to the American people. But you don't have to do that, man, because you're a multi-millionaire. You're very rich. You know, no matter what party gets in, they're going to cut your taxes. So you can just sit back and relax and not have to dive into the details, not have to do your research and be an educated voter. But you are resorting to fear-mongering because that's all you know. It's shallow. It's easy to just point out how bad Donald Trump is, but what you really need to do is dive down and see what the Democratic Party is doing as well, because everybody knows, the secret's out. Republicans are crazy as hell. but everyone knows that. But many people don't know that the Democratic Party is dangerous in many ways, albeit differently. Now, the final thing he said was, look, I get disappointment. I couldn't get Rihanna to go out with me, but I don't stand around in the kitchen and boo my wife, at least not while she's telling me how she plans to make my life better. Okay, that part honestly made me cringe because it came off as very hello fellow kids to me.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
But in the end, he gave us a nice little pat on the head and said, you did a good job, you transformed the Democratic Party, but now it's time to be quiet. But you know what? I don't have to be quiet. This is a democracy. We can be as loud as we want. And trust me, us progressives, we're going to be a big thorn in the side of the Democratic Party. We may be leaving, but that doesn't mean you've seen the last of us. In fact, we're probably going to be more annoying and vocal now more than ever. So I don't have to be quiet. Nobody has to be quiet in a democracy, and you should be thankful for that. Now, I'm going to get to the last one, which is the most difficult one for me. Whoopi Goldberg, because when I was growing up, I was honestly one of the biggest Whoopi Goldberg fans ever. I'm serious. Like, I watched the movie Sister Act like 100 times when I was like 4 or 5. I don't know why. I loved the movie. I was a huge fan of Whoopi Goldberg. I watched any and everything that she was in. So she's kind of like a hero to me in a way. But this election cycle, it's shown that all of my heroes will betray me in a heartbeat. Elizabeth Warren, Whoopi Goldberg. So my heart can't take any more pain anymore from all these people. But nonetheless, even though I like Whoopi Goldberg as a person, she's wrong here.
I mean, yeah. So here's I'm just going to say this. All of these wonderful young liberal people who are booing the first female that actually might become president, I don't get it. Because you all like to talk about how the system is rigged. The system's been rigged forever. It's been rigged against women for years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for years. But, I don't remember anybody booing about that. Mm-hmm. I remember Shirley Chisholm ran. I remember, wonderful Geraldine Ferraro ran. Mm-hmm. I don't remember anybody booing that. So this idea that you didn't know that the system was rigged, do your homework. It's been rigged for years, but it's, we were talking yesterday about what a party is supposed to do. Well, what I thought about it a lot, particularly what you said, and I believe that the party is going to do whatever they can do to get the most electable candidate elected. Mm-hmm. I think that's what they're there to do. And so stupidity reigns everywhere. Don't look at any of my emails. I'm calling people all kind of now. Oh, honey, if you... I would not have a job if people saw my emails, So I can't look at those and get mad. I can't get mad that the system is rigged against the white guy.
Well, we knew that the system was rigged. It's rigged against us economically. It's rigged against us politically. But the reason why we supported Bernie Sanders was because it was rigged. Now, the underlying implication there is that we're sexist because we disagree with Hillary Clinton. And nobody was booing for, the gender inequality, except that we are. Her policies affect women and children who are economically disadvantaged. They affect women and children bad in the Middle East. So you can't say that, we're against Hillary Clinton for misogynistic reasons. And furthermore, half the people booing were women. So here's the thing, Whoopi. We were booing sexism all along, and we supported Elizabeth Warren before Hillary Clinton, and we're now supporting Jill Stein. So yes, the fact that we can nominate a woman signals that we have come a long way, but the fact that we can hold women to the same standard as men, irrespective of their gender, is also a symbol of our accomplishments in terms of gender equality. Now, I don't not support Hillary Clinton because she's a woman. I don't support her because of the policies that she's proposing that I disagree with. And furthermore, are you honestly trying to tell me that if there was any female presidential candidate, like Carly Fiorina, Michelle Bachmann, Sarah Palin, that you would just support them because they're women? Isn't that just logically inconceivable because their policies would hurt women? And furthermore, think about this. The goal of feminism is gender equality, not to just support women over men no matter what. And by invoking this argument, you're misusing identity politics to downplay the disadvantages that people have based on their class. Now, she also justified them rigging the primary because she claims the party will do what they need to do to get the most electable candidate elected. Except that doesn't justify overriding democracy, and furthermore, if that were the case, they would have rigged it for Bernie, since he beat Donald Trump in almost every single hypothetical matchup and outperformed Hillary Clinton. See, Bernie was the more electable candidate, but even if he wasn't, We hold an election that's supposed to be free, that's supposed to be fair from bias, that's supposed to be have a DNC that's neutral, but that wasn't the case. And finally, probably the worst thing she said was, I can't be mad that the system is rigged against the white guy. Okay, I'm sorry, but how is this not a bigoted statement? You're literally making assumptions about Bernie Sanders based on one descriptive characteristic. Look, I'll be the first person to tell you that women are disadvantaged in society, and I do want to do everything I can to fight against that. But there's nuance in the world. You can't seriously argue that Hillary Clinton is more disadvantaged than a straight white male just because she's a woman. She's a multi-millionaire, and when you live in an oligarchy, true privilege is defined by the size of your bank account. So to say that this privileged white woman who spends $13,000 on an Armani jacket, who grew up conservative and had the entire DNC, entire media apparatus and establishment in the tank for her, is more disadvantaged than Bernie Sanders, a socialist Jew who grew up impoverished? You're just flat out wrong. So all of these celebrities honestly should be ashamed of themselves for trying to silence Bernie Sanders' disenfranchised voters, because it's just wrong, and you trying to rich-splain to us why we shouldn't be outraged at the fraud, at the rigging, at the bias that went on during the primary is honestly just egregious and unethical.